Again, maybe they didn't expect them to go all in with that Medusa. Maybe they don't expect the lanes to be turning out this way. I don't see anything truly unfavorable from what FNATIC's pulled off, though.
Oh, they will go for the OD pick. So it took them a while. They were thinking about it, but this does make it so Royal do have a bit of a... I don't want to say greedy lineup because it's not that greedy, but it does make it hard because how do you catch out Abed throughout the early to mid game? If he does just opt to farm all day on the Medusa, how are you actually going to take this man out?
It really hangs on the back of your supports in this case. The Shadow Shaman and Ancient Apparition have to be active early on. They have to be applying a lot of pressure in that jungle to slow down that Medusa from Abed. Again, we've seen times when you just leave that Medusa alone to farm up. You can't really deal with it. And now, the OD is a great response to that. Of course, we talked about in the draft, a very straightforward counter pick for RNG. But again, if you give too much space to Medusa, the OD doesn't quite farm as fast as Medusa. The split shot just makes it pretty easy for Medusa to build up, clearing camps quite fast. OD can kind of do that with the splash damage coming out from his orb and Astral Imprisonment, of course. It's just, it doesn't feel like it's going to be as quick, especially early on compared to Abed. So they're going to have to slow down that Medusa, plant some really deep wards, and do some work with the AA and Shadow Shaman. Probably once one core has come along as well. If any, it's probably going to have to be the OD, as long as he doesn't get a bad lane. It really depends on who gets a good lane for RNG. If the OD has a good lane, he can roam early. If he doesn't have a good lane, it's going to have to be the Sven. If both of them have a bad time, well then, you just got to try, because you can't keep that Medusa farming all game.
I certainly agree. Nevertheless, game number 1 between these two. A lot of tips already coming out, and of course the all chat, how could we forget? Ice probably going to be spamming that a hell of a lot this game. Who needs casters, John? Who needs them? Screw it, just use the voice lines. It'll work better anyway.
Casters on demand, Mike. I mean, You can't beat that. It's what the players want.
Absolutely. Early smoke will get broken off by Arfu. Arfu, will he get disrupted? Jabs, he almost had it, but the fog just kind of ruins the animation. Arfu will be able to get away, so first blood gonna be avoided here by RNG. A sneaky attempt though from FNATIC, and they'll return back to the battery spots up at the top lane, trying to secure those. Monet, I'm not really sure if he's going to actually have a go at that top banner rune spot. Probably won't. It looks like the rest of his team is going to be down around the bot banner rune and just secure those for themselves. And Royal, they don't really seem too interested in fighting early on with this draft either, right? Like, they're probably going to be very focused on farming up till at least that 10 to 15 minute mark, and then we'll probably see them try to make a couple plays.
Yeah, again, the cores of RNG aren't really the greatest cores early on. You're probably going to want some levels in those. It's really down to those supports, like the Shadow Shaman, Lanim playing that hero. It's where most of your aggression will be coming from, that Shadow Shaman and that Ancient Apparition. So it's down to Lanim and Afu applying that pressure on the map while their cores still slowly build up. You're going to need levels on Monet, you're going to need levels on Setsu, and you're going to need levels and farm on Flyby. All of these heroes really need a bit more to come online, so your supports will have to step in and really apply that pressure in that laning phase.
We'll keep a close eye on Setsu and Abed as well. Again, it's that matchup that it could go either way, but more than likely Abed's still going to have a bit of a free time until at least Setsu gets that level 3 or 4 mark. Does manage to avoid the first Mystic Snake, however. Top lane, of course, you do see DJ and Ice there. They are going to jump onto Arfu very early on, but looks like Ice was just making that play to avoid the Cold Feet freeze, and now Monet will turn around with a Storm Hammer. And so this does appear to be a very aggressive lane coming up from FNATIC. Of course, the bot lane, Lan M, falling very low already on the Shadow Shaman, but he'll be okay. Flyby does have the sustain with the Omni Knight, so he won't really mind this too much.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit hard in this bot lane, especially if Jabs can walk up for the setup. It's a really easy follow-up with a disruption into the split turret, so you're going to have to watch out for that if you're RNG. You can't overextend yourselves too much.
Setsu seems to be having a pretty decent time right now on the OD, not really struggling too much at all. Does find himself slightly ahead of Abed on that Medusa. Abed trying to be annoying towards Setsu, but he continuously is copying those Astral Imprisonments, which is to be expected. So we'll see how long Setsu keeps this up. But again, I do imagine as the OD levels go up, he just gets stronger and stronger up against this Medusa pick.
Yeah, it really hangs in that scaling, and Setsu's already got that early advantage. He's been positioning himself quite well.
Ice
Creeps and forcing the creeps back.
He might be the first blood here. Monet, he will find that final right click and be able to claim the first blood. Ice just going a bit too deep and not being able to get away from the cold feet this time around. DJ really wasn't able to help out with the stroke of fate he had. So Ice will return back to the lane, but that does give an even better start to Monet, who already is having a pretty nice start at 9 last hits on the Sven. You got to be very careful how many kills you give away to this man on the Sven.
You definitely have to. Again, the Sven is just a really great scaling hero if he gets a good timing on what looks to be a Midas coming out from Monet. We have seen Svens hit that Midas timing at 7-8 minutes, sub 10. And when you can get that timing, it just escalates really fast. It's very hard to stop the hero. So, again, you have to watch for FNATIC. LanM
was in a lot of trouble, still is. MP going to continue the chase, but Flyby trying to keep him alive. LanM, he'll turn around. It will not be good enough, though. MP will be able to claim the kill. Flyby tried his absolute hardest to keep the man alive, but it just wasn't enough in the end.
Yeah, it's those early cooldowns from that Omni Knight that kind of kills you. That Purification, level 1's just 14 seconds. You can't really spam it out as often as you want.
Flyby now going to cop a bit of harassment from MP. Moving back over to the mid lane, Setsu is still dominating the lane. Abed only finding himself 8 last hits, 4 denies right now. Setsu on 13 and 9. And he is being very aggressive, just continuously moving forward for those Astrals. He will get punished just a bit with that Mystic Snake this time around. But Raw never give up. Surely going to be pretty happy with this. It really does feel like they're winning 2 out of 3 lanes right now. The only one not really going their way quite yet is the bot lane, but even that almost is their way. I mean, Flyby, he is 15 last hits, 4 denies. You look at MP on that Leshrac, he's sitting at 10 and 1. The only bad thing that's really happened for RNG down at the bot lane is the fact that the Shadow Shaman died.
I mean, even if you consider that MP has a pretty even lane, it's still a Leshrac getting that farm, you know? It's not the scariest POS 1 ever. I mean, sure, it does a lot of work in that early to mid game, but there is a bit of a timer on a hero like this. So even if it gets that good start, if you're still winning your side lanes, you're not going to be too upset for your RNG.
Certainly agree. Setsu again, throwing out another Astral. In fact, looks like he wants to deal a bit of damage here to Arbet, though doesn't use the Arcane Orbs, just goes for the normal right clicks. Arbet will return the favor, but it's just not as effective. While Monet still getting a hell of a lot of farm, though Ice is going to try and disrupt him a bit with the Sandstorm and Burrow Strike, and now the Stroke of Fate comes in. Monet not going to mind this too much. Ice cops a Stormhammer with the Cold Feet as well, and I don't know if he actually walks out of range this time. He doesn't. DJ, though, with the Inkswell saving him, but no Arfu will take care of it in the end. And Monet will be able to secure that top Bounty Rune for himself, and that'll mean 3 Bounty Runes. Well, excuse me, 2 going to each side. I thought it was a 3rd for RNG, but no. FNATIC do manage to get the bot Bounty Rune for themselves as well.
You are seeing a lot of issues in this top lane already. Again, the aggression being pumped out by RNG, just with that easy combination with the Sven AA is very hard to counteract. You're seeing a lot of resources coming out from RNG as well to ensure Ice is not having a good time. We've seen Ice a lot in this off lane. Of course, he's a fantastic off lane player, but when he plays behind, it's hard for him to make that space in the mid game.
See how fast he can catch up. I mean, he's got 31 last hits, 1 deny. So he's at the top of the last hits board. Well, now only behind Monet. So still having a decent time, but has had 2 deaths, which really only just helps RNG. Monet just going to keep comfortably farming up. You wouldn't think the AA support would be this effective in ensuring he can get this much farm, but it just does seem to be the case. Fortunately, DJ looking to have more impact than the AA, but just hasn't quite yet with the Inkswell Burrow Strike combo. But they'll try now onto DJ. Fu going to be in trouble. Does get stunned up by the Inkswell, and DJ will finish him off with the Stroke of Fate. This is, of course, as soon as I said he didn't have as much effectiveness, he does make it happen.
You really have to watch out for the moment when they can get that combination off properly. The Sand King takes a while to actually get stun in a good range, right? Level 2 is when it's kind of workable. Level 1 is kind of atrocious. and you can start pumping out that combination with the Grimstroke once you have enough levels, which we are hitting. You know, level 5 on Ice Ice Ice, that's a pretty good point to pump out that lane aggression, and that does mean you have to watch out now if you are this AA. You can't
Bot lane.
quite walk.
MP going to go ahead and take Lan M, and now Flyby trying to back off. Does have a Mango available for the Purification, but it was on cooldown anyway, and MP will claim himself 2 kills now on the Leshrac. And it looks like it was actually RNG who were trying to aggress towards the side of FNATIC down to that bot lane. It doesn't work out though. Now top lane, Monet going to be in trouble. Inkswell not going to connect though. Nice Storm Hammer coming out from Monet. Ice not going to give up, but the God Strength has been popped. And that looks like it'll be enough for the side of FNATIC to happily back off.
It's a bit of a waste with that God Strength. Of course, they wanted to turn it around, but all the heroes were just a bit too far. Afu and Lan M just not quite close enough to get any follow-up stuns. They do save Monet in the end. I mean, that move does save his life. And again, he's still on a pretty good trajectory.
Setsu dived way too deep on Abed. Not sure what the plan was, but he ends up astraling himself, and it just allows all the supports on the side of FNATIC to rotate in and claim a very easy kill. Considering that staff the OD had, that's going to slow him down a bit, and it's also going to buy a lot of space for Abed to get some much-needed farm in.
He has been falling a fair bit behind, as mentioned earlier. 35-6. I mean, it's still matching that OD at 35-16, but that's a lot of denied gold going the way of our OD as well. So Abed definitely not having the cleanest time in this Medusa, which is kind of to be expected from that mid lane matchup, right? If they don't get the lead on the Medusa, it's certainly a lane that the OD can easily bully out.
Well, Setsu does return to the lane now, but in terms of net worth, you do find Abed now 300 gold ahead. So he is starting to get that farm he needs. He will start moving into the jungle as well. That'll just allow some safe farm to go on. Bot lane, looks like Jabs will set up on the Omni though. Flyby should be okay, but the Split Earth does connect. Now the Pulse Nova as well. Flyby, he cannot sustain that much damage. Didn't quite get off the Heavenly Grace in time for himself, and with that MP claiming his 4th kill of the game. This time around on a much easier or better target as on the Omni Knight.
It's just down to that combinations you have from FNATIC. You have really great setup for all your lanes as long as you land that setup, you know, that initial setup. So in this case, it's the disruption when Jabs can walk up, get that disruption off. It's very easy for MP to just follow up. And again, at this point, the Omni Knight just can't do too much about it.
Afu could be in trouble top lane. Ice looking to chase. Does have the Burrow Strike available in about 4 seconds. Is he going to dive the T1? He will, though Afu trying to juke him out, but he knows exactly where he's gone. He does have the Burrow Strike, and he will just wait out that Cold Feet before he does commit it and gets it perfectly timed. Meanwhile, bot lane, though, they will lose MP. A nice rotation from Monet. And now they want Jabs as well, but a nice stroke of fate coming out from DJ. Connecting on every single hero from RNG, and that'll ensure that their Shadow Demon can walk out safely.
It is a fairly early rotation from Monet, though. As you mentioned, I mean, you know, he's had a decent time at that top lane. He's had very good farm, but you're not normally seeing Svens go around roaming like this at 10 minutes in, especially when he just picks up his Midas. So it's really early from RNG. I do like seeing that, though, because they have been losing out in this bot lane, so something needed to be done to slow down that Lesh.
But this goes back to what we talked about in the draft, right? Like, not only the Lesh, but even the Medusa. You've got to be early active for Monet. And like you said, he has been doing that so far. We'll see how much more rotations he'll make early on in this game. Top lane, though, it does look like that T1 will now be pushed in because they know nobody's there to defend it. So MP will just rotate after he dies. The AA Ice Blast will come in, but that's not going to stop MP from pushing in this T1. You will have the Edict up in about 6 seconds. Meanwhile, though, bot lane, you do have the Serpent Wards being dropped as well from Lan M. And so it's probably going to be an even trade, though there will be a TP in from Ice now. He commits a Sandstorm, but there was a Dust available, and that was wishful thinking from Ice. It will cost him his life in the end as well.
I mean, it was a very optimistic defense, but nonetheless, they take that top tier 1 in exchange. Losing Ice, you know, it's not the best, it's not a clean trade, but you still find the towers, you still find the objective, you still trade 1 for 1. You're not going to be too unhappy as FNATIC. Probably just tell Ice off and TPing right in front of people next time.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
While they were doing that, though, you look at Abed once again on that Medusa. He's now second in net worth at 5.3k. Only behind Monet on that Sven. So that is a bit of a concern here for RNG. We haven't really seen any kind of rotation yet towards Abed, so they're not really too concerned about him, apparently. Or perhaps they just don't have the resources. Looks like FNATIC, once again, going to be aggressive towards Flyby. They've just got to land that disruption from Jabs. Flyby, unknowing of this, will have to cop the disruption. MP looking for the split earth and does time it perfectly. And with that, Flyby cannot really sustain that HP. You saw the rotations early on from RNG, but the Omni Knight just couldn't stay alive long enough. And with that, FNATIC go for an immediate smoke once again. This time around, they're probably looking for that Sven, but they are going to run into Arfu, and smoke does get broken, and now underneath the shrine, there is the Soulbind coming out. Nice Hex onto MP, but it's not going to matter. The Split Earth connects on Arfu, it connects on LAN-M, and they are both dead. In fact, mid lane, Ice going to end up finding the OD as well. Setsu does end up getting taken down as well, and suddenly we have a 4-man wipe at 12.5 minutes in.
FNATIC's really found their pace here. Again, RNG was the team that's supposed to really counteract this early snowball from FNATIC, because once Abed was online, it would be just very hard. And now, losing that tier 1 like that, losing your 3 heroes just like that, it's not a good sign for RNG. They've definitely lost a lot of ground. They are starting to bleed some momentum away. And this is a very big opening for Abed to really just farm up. Already on that Yasha, very close to that Manta style. And once that's up, he's going to be much more active around the map.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Monet, we'll get the Echo Saber up now. Very least, so he can fight a bit. Smoke rotation from RNG though, can they find anybody? There are a few towards the west side of the map, but DJ and MP are starting to back off. Run up the hill, but smoke is broken by Jabs, and now MP moving forward. He does have the Yules, he just needs to reach LAN-M, and well, Ice Blast. Not connect. Be an Astral off, up at the top lane, but they're not really finding anybody on the side of RNG, and they have backed off anyway. Fu and LAN-M will go to D-Ward, and you'll see the rest of the heroes from RNG just start farming up. It's an unsuccessful smoke coming out from RNG, and that's going to leave it at 11-4 with a 3k net worth lead now for the side of FNATIC, and it's just hard to see what RNG can do with this draft. They could just set up for the later stages of the game, but now you see a smoke coming out from FNATIC. Setsu, again, going to be unknowing of this. They just de-warded as well, so he probably thinks he's safe. And EPICENTER coming in. Ice blinks in. The Inkswaller's there as well, and he is dead. Another very easy kill, and a very important one, slowing down that OD. RNG, they're starting to lose map control.
They've lost a lot, and you can't really stop that push from FNATIC really easily, because again, when you have a hero like Leshrac, it's just very easy to get that push going. Diabolic Edict is not a very long cooldown. It does a lot of damage to these towers, and they're going to lose their tier 2 with no defense up top, so that's gone.
Oh, Monet gonna get chased down. The tier 2 bot tower is deniable right now, but nobody really touching it. They are making the chase. Abed trying to find somebody. Meanwhile, Monet just farming creeps while all this is happening. Ice trying to go after LAN-M, but now Shackles connect and the Ice Blast. It will come in. Ice though. Nice Burrow Strike. Stone Gaze as well. Meanwhile, MP does end up finding Monet behind his tier 2 tower and denies it off as well. Abed still chasing LAN-M. Should be able to find him in the end, though the Heavenly Grace keeping him healed up, but the Burrow Strike does come out in the end. So they don't get the tier 2, it does get denied, and you get 2 kills now, again going to the side of FNATIC. A 4k net worth lead for the Radiant side as well.
FNATIC's just finding everything they want. Again, we are hitting that point where the Medusa is going to be active around that map, has 1 level in the Stone Gaze, level 15 talent up and ready as well. So it's going to be hard to counteract Abed now, and what's your response as RNG? You have an OD who has a Kaya, doesn't have that blink quite yet, so can't close the gap quite well. You have a Sven with a Midas and an Echo Saber still working onto that BKB. At this point in the game, it's just not enough. The control, the damage is just too much from FNATIC right now, unless RNG can find that clean initiation. But without any sort of blink hero as of yet, they just have no way of starting it cleanly.
We'll see what their response will be. It looks like they're just trying to set up for the later stages of the game at this point. Will they be able to survive long enough, though, at this rate? Ice. Looks like he's going for a Spirit Vessel straight after that blink, and we'll have it pretty darn soon. They are keeping all the lanes pushed out from the Radiant side. And they just desperately trying to get that BKB up before the next fight starts, but it looks like he may have to be up top to defend, because MP and Ice are starting to move in. Oh, Epicenter. They're going to jump on Setsu by themselves. Burrow Strike does connect. Now MP. Follow-up stun comes out, and they get him again. Underneath his own T3 tower at the 17-minute mark, and Flyby just couldn't get in range to help him out. It looks like they'll just move over to that mid lane where the mid tier 2 does still stand, and Abed, he'll just get started.
There's no defense from RNG. They just have no response to this kind of aggression right now. Again, they just lack the tool. It's no blink initiation, no magic immunity from their cores. They are going to have to give away this map control fairly free. The only option they can take is trying to find farm around the map while this happens. So they have been setting Monet down bot to clear out the waves, to clear out the jungle. But now he's being stalked by Ice.
Well, he does at least have Lan M there. So Ice, if he does make the jump, could be in trouble. But gives a tip to Arfu for the Ice Blast. And looks like he'll just go into the Sandstorm and just chill out there for a while. You have Lan M. He's going to stick around with the Shadow Shaman, but no, he'll go back to TP to the base. Get ready for a defense that may be necessary. There are still a T1 and T2 bot tower available here for Fnatic to take, though, so they may not try this early on. Of course, the Roshan also going to be available for them if they want to try and get a quick one. See just RNG just huddled up towards that eastern jungle on the Dire side, just trying to make sure they're safe. And they just needs about 600 gold for that BKB recipe, and they might actually have a chance with these fights. But the Roshan now is being taken. It looks like RNG have no clue this is happening, and even if they did, I don't really think they'd actually make the jump in.
They just don't have the tools. I mean, they can't even jump in. They just have no way of jumping in. That's a major issue right now. They have no initiation, and they're just going to have to give objectives like this away until they do have a solution to that.
Well, you do have the BKB at least coming up on Setsu now. Aether Lens as well, coming up on Lan M. So you do have a couple ways of initiating and counter-initiating now on RNG. These are the tools that were really required, but you saw Fnatic immediately smoking up and heading down towards that bot lane where Flyby was farming up on the Omni. Should be able to get out there just fine. He's got the TP available. Just making sure he gets into a safe spot before he even tries. In fact, he'll just run up towards his towers. There is a line being drawn out by the side of RNG, kind of indicating exactly what Fnatic's planning. Though, as they plan that, Monet, he does pick up that full BKB now, and this might just be it. RNG, they will go ahead and smoke up. Ice immediately breaking that smoke, though. And with that, Abed, he'll jump in. The Burrow Strike is there, but Ice Blast does connect on Ice, and now they jump him. Take him out immediately. The Lan M also ends up going down to MP. Monet gonna stand his ground a bit up against Abed. Stone Gaze will come out, though, and now the Soulbind as well. Is it gonna be enough? Fnatic, they continue moving forward. They want Flyby first, and they will find the Omni as well. So a 2-for-1 trade. They'll lose Ice, but they get much more out of it, and with that, they'll go straight after that T1 tower.
That's really not good news for RNG. That was the BKB reveal of Monet. That was the smoke up for that as well. That's a 10-second charge gone, and they don't really get anything done. Rather unfortunate that their smoke is broken by Ice like that, but Fnatic's positioning has been really on point, and these teamfights have just not been working out to RNG's favor.
Well, Abed's not really planning to stop, but he does get stunned up, and now the Ice Blast comes in as well. The Disruption, I think he may have avoided the Ice Blast pass. In fact, no, he didn't, but he caught cold-feeded as well. Abed's still very healthy, though. Does have the Aegis if he needs it. He will Manta out of the Snakes, and now Monet's going to be in trouble, though they will find Abed first. Disruption will come out. Flyby gonna get stunned up as well, and with that, MP gonna start making the chase. They is safe for the moment. Jabs will put the purge on him, and with that, Flyby will end up going down. Ice will back off as well, and with that, an easy T2 tower being taken as well by the side of Fnatic.
it's just really, really rough for RNG right now. It does look very optimistic when they go for these plays because they just have no solution to Abed. They do kill him once, but the only reason that happened was because Abed had an Aegis. So he's willing to take that risk, willing to stay that far forward. But we haven't seen any situation elsewhere where Abed does expose himself like that. And he's going to be the big issue from RNG. You don't have the tools on that OD yet. He has a Blink along with that Kaya now. It just doesn't feel like it's enough yet. He's going to need a BKB of his own, and the timing on that item is not going to be amazing. It's just not going to be when you want it. We've already seen that happen to Monet. You know, he goes in, he had a 10-second BKB, did nothing. He had a 9-second BKB, went back in, took the Aegis out, and then did nothing as well afterwards.
Well, Monet gonna start moving forward. Abed gonna be a nice target if they can find it. RNG just waiting to jump in, and now they will. They'll start off with their Hex. The disruption is there from Jabs. Ice Blast Monet, he still wants to go for this. Abed, though, still looking very healthy, and now the Soulbind comes out. Epicenter from Ice, though no Burrow Strike to follow up. He will throw it out onto Flyby. Ice in a bit of trouble here to Monet. He will survive, though, for the moment, and now the side of RNG just needs to get the hell out. Serpent Ward's dropping another disruption from Jabs. Lan M gonna end up costing him his life, and now they found the AA as well. Ice. Cold Feet will take him down. Fu, though, ticking down to the Spirit Vessel, and DJ's Stroke of Fate will take him out.
Oh, man.
A 3-for-1 trade once again. Not the greatest of news for RNG. That makes it a 22-6. You have a look at that win probability right now, John. It is 87% the way of FNATIC. I certainly agree with Dota Plus's prediction.
Dire's middle tower
It really comes down to how farm is being distributed right now for RNG. They are trying to force that aggression out. It just feels like it's a bit too late. It's at this point where you play catch-up. And this is the point where they do feel, with these item pickup, of course, I can't blame them. You have the BKBs up, you have the Blink up on your OD, you feel like, sure, we can take these fights now, but it's just not quite there yet. And it really falls apart when you bring those bodies in, when FNATIC can bring their bodies in as well, and even at an even number in the fight, it's just not favorable. And that's really down to Abed just being a bit too big now. He does have that butterfly out, so the damage coming out from him is great. The control from Ice this entire time has been entirely on point. He has been catching out the heroes that he wants. He has been forcing these fights from RNG to end up badly for them, and that's just the power of the Sand King. We talked about it from draft, but every time you see this hero, it does do the work it needs.
FNATIC once again scouting out that dire jungle. They do scan out Monet and Pete, trying to get in range for those Yules. They do get the Burrow Strike off. Ice sets up. Split Earth will not connect, though. Nice BKB from Monet, but they have found Arfu instead. And this is a secondary kill, but they'll happily pick it up. Ice Blast being thrown out, but it's going to do absolutely nothing. Had they landed that Split Earth on Monet in time, though, it would have certainly been a much nicer kill, but again, a quick BKB will save him. That being said, though, if you do go for the high ground push now, you know that that BKB isn't available for about another 40 seconds. This is probably perfect timing for FNATIC to just try and make a bit of a tier 3 push.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
They do back off down mid, though. Abed does TP away, and they just send in the Illusions, do some work. I mean, there's no pressure from FNATIC to end this game now. They certainly do have ways of scaling. Again, with that Medusa, you have a lot of scaling potential coming out. You do have to worry about that OD if Setsu does manage to snake his way back in terms of net worth. It's going to be hard. We haven't seen any big Stantis Eclipse coming out as well. So you have to watch out for those team fight ults coming out from RNG, but so far, FNATIC has been managing that threat quite well. Again, Setsu's just pretty much taken out every single time before he can do significant damage.
FNATIC now going to remain grouped up. They're not even going to smoke for this. They're just going to run straight up towards that dire jungle. Ice. Looking for a target to get the Burrow Strike off on, but you see RNG. They go immediately into that tree line. They had wards to scout all that out. They'll just TP. Though Ice will find the Burrow Strike off. He got two of them. Lan M going to go for the TP straight after, and he does get it off, but they will find Arfu anyway. That Ice Blast coming out from Arfu was just a bit greedy and actually revealed the location he was in as he was TPing out.
unfortunate. It really is. I mean, there's really not much to say about RNG right now. They just don't have control of the map. They have no space to get that farm going, at the very least at this moment. It's been the supports copying the deaths, but it still doesn't bode well. You have no room to farm up. Your OD is still in need of a few more tools to be online. He does have that, the BKB blink is there. So if you want to be aggressive, this could be an opening as well. It still feels like it's not going to be a great response. It's just time is slipping away. Perhaps you wait for the next Roche to be up. It is going to be up fairly soon. Going to be 2 minutes, around a minute 40 until that's up. There is a smoke from RNG though. So again, they understand with that recent item pickup, they could maybe find a kill.
Well, they smoked up, but nothing really going to come out of it for RNG. They are just kind of waiting around right now. FNATIC just going to be on the opposite side, though. Ice. Playing a bit risky on the other side of the map. RNG trying to find their opening.
Dire are scanning.
FNATIC, they'll just keep clearing out the die in jungle. Like, they're not too worried about this. They know the side of RNG can't actually secure any farm, apart from these 3 camps right here. And so, they're happy to drag this game out as long as necessary. Though mid lane, there could be a setup from Ice. He does go for the Sandstorm instead. His team not close enough to really risk going for the Burrow Strike.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And RNG not making any mistakes right now. Though as I say that, Monet gonna move in, but the disruption was already committed by Jabs on those Medusa illusions. So he couldn't actually set up with that disruption on the Sven, but rather they will just slowly tick down this tier 3 tower with those Medusas. And it looks like they were waiting for the Roshan anyway, so FNATIC, they move straight into that Roshan pit now, and again RNG not really in a position to try and counter this Roshan play. This should be a secondary Aegis and Cheese going to the way of the Radiant.
They're not even aware the Roche is happening. They just have no vision on the map indicating that, so they're not going to be able to go in for the contest either. And that's just going to be a free Roche again for FNATIC. It's going to be a hard time killing Abbott twice over again. And MP with the Cheese just will be able to pump out that damage for a long time. So it just got a bit harder for RNG in that next team fight. Even if they hold that high ground defense, it's, you still don't have the tools to make it work out for you.
We have a Scythe of Vice now coming out from DJ. Not an item you really see around that 29-minute mark on a support, but DJ does go ahead and pick it up, and that's going to be very useful. Fu going to scout out MP with that new water. Now they'll jump in, but he does get the banner in, and BKB's up. In fact, he's going to turn around. Burrow Strike is there, but no Setsu. He got his BKB off, and now Ice should just be dead. Should be a very easy kill. They rotate everyone else over, and Monet will claim it with the Stormhammer. The rest of FNATIC, understanding it was not a great fight to go for, they do just back out of there immediately. I say that, they do smoke up. Arbet pushing in the bot lane by himself. So they are going to join Arbet, hoping perhaps he's the bait for RNG to take. And it is Monet. He's trying to creep up on Arbit, but smokes get broken. LanM, he'll be the one caught out. Monet now Soulbind is placed, but he does BKB, and they go straight after MP. Don't forget, though, he does have the cheese. He will get disrupted, at least for the moment, and Monet does end up losing his life. They are trying to find even more. Setsu gets Burrow Striked up. Serpent Ward's being dropped. Guardian Angel as well will allow them to survive a little bit longer. Astral being thrown out on himself, even though Guardian Angel was there, and Setsu going to end up dying as well. Flyby, he'll be the next target and be the fourth one to go down on the side of RNG. And there's the GG call. 31 minutes in, you can't really blame them. Like, they have buybacks available, but they are just so much further behind. You can't really blame them for the early GG.
You really can't. FNATIC just found their foothold early on. They got everything they wanted out of those lanes. It looked a bit rough maybe in the first 5 minutes, but